signified sequence of events that took place in Huckleberry Finn, and we chose 5 different scenes from the book that we thought showed the progression of the story and how Huck goes on his adventure and turns like he matures and how he learns things that that he didn't before he went. So first we have the cabin where he escapes Pap. This really starts him on his journey and how he turns like into an independent person instead of staying with someone, as he did with Pap and as he did with like the widow and Miss Watson. Him meeting Jim shows that how he finds Jim and how he starts on his journey with him. That it's the person who will be with throughout the book.
This scene is from the Grangerfords and the Shepherd's Sons. They're rival, you know what I mean. Like in Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues, they're constantly at war with each other, blah, blah, blah. They constantly fight. In this situation, Huck loses Jim, and then he goes to the Grangerfords. They invite him to their house, and he stays with them for a little while. And he notices this church scene where they bring guns to church, where the pastor still talks about brotherly love and how everybody should love each other, but they still bring their guns in case stuff goes down. So, yeah.
And this scene is when it's Stephen King at the Wilkes funeral, and this is where Huck finally sees how bad humanity really is. That these people, like, because this quote was when about when he was blaming the black people for stealing the money, but in fact he was the one who was trying to steal the money. So he's trying to be really, be a hypocrite, and Huck finally sees how bad humanity really is.
And finally, with the Phelps farm and Huck saving Jim, in this part of the book, he had to make a decision on whether or not he's gonna stay by the ideals taught to him throughout his life, or is he gonna go with his conscience and see what's right and like actually save Jim because he's a human being. And he decides to save Jim. This is when he decides to start finding where he is. They find he's in the cabin, and him and Tom Sawyer eventually get him out, even though Tom makes it a little more inconvenient than it should have been. And they eventually save him, and Huck finally makes up his mind about what he feels about society and what kind of person he wants to be.
Questions?
I have a question. So you have 5 very significant pieces to this that I'm assuming that when you thought about if you're going to do the sequence of events, what are the 5 things that jump in your quotes from that? Is there something that happened along the way that you think is almost or just as important but you didn't include?
I think when Huck first meets the King and Duke, because he and Jim really they find them, and even though Huck doesn't think, he knows they're not really them, he brings them along, and they really he lives with them and he thinks they're good people on the raft. He lives with them on the raft, and he realizes that they're good people. But as they go on, he realizes that what people are in the beginning, it doesn't really turn out they don't turn out how they're seen to be at first. So that really starts it starts their journey with them and ends here. But we decided to add this because this is really the turning point of the Duke and the King, as opposed to them meeting them at the beginning.
Right.
So I have a question, but it's a hard one, I think, because I'm not sure. I know I don't think I know the answer. So you chose sequence. So it's more than just, this happens first, this happens second, this happens third, right? The sequence is important for other reasons, right? It adds up to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if you had any thinking in terms of that, in terms of choosing sequence as your thing. That's what. Is there a growth? Is there a development? Is there a reason?
Well,
you chose those particular items, those particular events.
Well, through a lot of these events, a lot of it was based on Huck's development and how it changed him throughout the journey, mostly. Like with the meeting Jim, that starts off with them starting their journey together, and Jim becomes his father figure, and that makes Huck feel good. Yeah.
Like Huck starts with Jim, and he doesn't see him as other than a black person that he's been taught not to respect, and that's his thought process in the beginning of the book. But as the book goes on, instead of just like this like being the natural progression through the book, it shows how Huck changes his ideology of society from being what he was taught by everyone else to what he really thinks, and what he really thinks turns out to be the better of two choices.
So, what do you think if you could take Huck? How old is Huck in this sequence of events roughly? You know?
15.
Okay, so what kind of what kind of man do you think he would be, like at 35 or 30?
I think he
what
would.
do you think would be different than you see in the book?
Then, like, let's say if any of this didn't happen, like, is that what you're asking, or because this happened, what would be?
You talked about his growth and development.
Mhm.
So
I feel like
further out.
if there was another like book, it would be about
sequel.
the sequel. Yeah. It would definitely be about Huck trying to make society better, trying to gain the rights of black people, because obviously he helped Jim escape from being captured, and that's what I feel like that would happen.